Quick and live. And action.
What's up, people? We're here live on the Spread Love podcast. And as you see, there are 5 of us here today. We're without Alvin Chia, our bass, who's working hard doing something else. And we got his back. We also are waiting on our illustrious, amazing guest, Mr. Frank McComb. He'll be with us very shortly. He's having, a little bit of technical difficulty, but, that happens. When I posted about Frank, I basically said that, he is a songwriter, producer, multi-instrumentalist, amazing independent artist. And he does all of those things incredibly well. And that's why I personally wanted to have him on the show. He's a friend of ours, and we love having him. And while we're waiting on him, we're going to play an iconic performance of his. Actually, a song that was one of the very first songs I heard from him, and I have from one of his bootleg recordings. This is More Than Friends.
Every morning I rise with a frown on my face, because my dreams come to an end and reality sets in place. I've got to let you know today, just how I really feel for you, if I may. Ooh, yeah. I wanna be more than your friend. So open your heart and let me in. Oh yeah. Ease up my broken heart to mend. Baby, I wanna be more than friends. Yeah, more than friends. Mm-hmm. 1, 2, 3. You see, I can't go on much longer, holding in how I feel, 'cause my love for you is growing stronger. And baby, every bit of it's real. There's so much love I have inside for you. And I'll give it all to you if you'd allow me to. I wanna be more than your friend. Yeah, yeah, baby. So open your heart and let me in. These are my broken heart to me. Yeah, I wanna be more than friends. Oh, more than friends. Ooh, more than friends. Oh, yeah. more than friends. Oh, baby. More than friends. Ooh, yeah. Oh, I wanna be more than friends. Ooh, yeah, yeah. So open your heart and let me. Oh, yeah. Please help my broken heart to beat. Yeah, 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 yeah. I wanna be. I wanna be more than friends. Yeah. Oh, baby. Oh, yeah. I wanna be more than friends, more than friends. You see, I can't hold on no longer. I can't hold on much longer. My love's growing stronger, baby. Oh, yeah, baby. I can't hold on much longer. My heart's getting stronger for you, baby. Oh, yeah. Oh, me and you. You go with me. You go with me.
Whoa.
Hey.
What's up, Frank
Yes,
McComb?
sir. Yes,
Oh
sir.
my God. You
He's
guys
here.
y'all just took me way back, man. 1995, man. Y'all telling my age. Why y'all doing
Here's the
that?
crazy thing. Frank. One of the reasons why I decided to bring that song out was that was one of the first songs that I got hip to, man.
Really?
Yeah, it was on this
Wow.
bootleg thing. Someone sent it to me. I was like, "Who in the world is this?"
Man, there's a story and a bottle of whiskey behind that record, man.
Come on, that's why we're here, brother. Come on, tell us about that song. Tell us about the record.
But first, how you guys doing? Good to see my friends again.
Dude, we're great, man.
Good to
Yes,
see
So
you
good to
guys,
see you.
man. Man, it's really good to see you guys. Well, what happened was, wow, I was signed to Motown back in 1992 to 94, and that was the second of two different projects that I had recorded for the label. And we won't talk about the first project. It's deep in the vault. No, Frank McComb didn't know who Frank McComb was at the time. So this second project that I did, this is right when Polygram came in and bought the label. Now, I recorded this whole project. I mean, we've got Harvey Mason on drums. Sekou Bunch is on bass on that particular tune. Freddie Washington he wrote "Forgive Me Not" with Patrice Rushen. He played bass on a tune. Bobby Watson from Rufus, Tony Maiden on guitar from Rufus, Doc Powell on guitar. That's Doc Powell on guitar you heard there. Billy Preston played on this album. We had like a host of musicians on this record. And when I left Motown and went on the road with Buckshot LaFunk, Branford Marsalis, I'm every bit of maybe 24. And you leave a label. I don't have the money to go back with an attorney and try to get those masters. So I just moved on with my life, and I just said, it's a part of my past, whatever, and think anything else about the project. So fast forward, I go to Columbia Records. I put out Love Stories. Then I go to an indie label because Columbia said they weren't going to push that album, unfortunately. So I left that label. Not looking from the eyes of the public. You're talking about a major black label, major white label. Nothing happening. So I go to an indie label. I won't even mention because any press is good press for them. So I go to this label and I put out this album called The Truth Volume 1. It just happened to be the same guy that produced this record that you just heard. He was also the producer of The Truth Volume 1, but he was part owner of the label. So not knowing, this guy still had the masters. He had the masters in his studio. They weren't even turned into Motown. So I'm in Birmingham, England, big festival, and I'm playing the Birmingham Weekender. And he happens to be on the drums, but that's another bottle of whiskey. But yeah, he happened to be on the drums, and come to find out, like I just finished the show opening for Incognito, and I'm signing autographs in a room for about 100 people or so, and about 20 people came up to me with this disc. It said just the paper on the front, the little paper in a standard case, Frank McComb, the Motown Sessions, in black lettering, and white piece of paper. And
wow.
Yeah, so it was all of the tracks from the Motown album. So I knew exactly who did it. The man was right there playing drums on the gig. But but I found out from all the people that I had spoken to that I'm signing this thing like, man, I'm so mad I could chew barbed wire. I'm signing every one of them for the people because it's not their fault. And each one told me how they got it. That's when burning CDs were starting to hit. And we had already gotten hit with the Napster thing and the whole nine, so my royalties already plummeted, right? so they all told me how they got it. They ordered it, and I mean, there was no artwork for the record. Wasn't mixed, wasn't mastered. They were all CDRs. It was green on the back, so this guy was like pressing them one at a time and selling them overseas. And each person told me what they paid for it in a ballpark of 25 pounds at the time, which was $50 US.
Wow.
Yeah. So this song you just heard was on that project. So, so I went home and I took 12 songs out of my studio. I called my studio my vault, and I put them on a CDR. And now, mind you, this whole project was recorded, mixed, mastered, roughly. It wasn't even mastered. It was just roughly mixed by me. And I mean, it's a raw record, very raw record, straight from the vault. And I wrote on every disc that I burnt one at a time. Frank McComb, straight from the vault with a black Sharpie. Went to Cleveland, told my story. And I sold the whole duffel bag full. So the money I made from the CDs went back into making more CDs. And the money I made from the shows, I took care of my wife and my kids. So fast forward, I'm working with Prince. Get a gig with him, right? And I'm, I won't even say get a gig. I'm working with him, artist to artist. That's really what happened. He never hired me as a musician. So I'm working with him, and at this time, I've ordered a copy of this product that's been on the black market, that's been
the bootlegged,
right? So I ordered it from him anonymously, and I made that my master because people were asking me, "What are you gonna do about this record?" So I y'all know what it means to be wise as a serpent and humble as a dove. Yeah. So that's what I did. I took it back by force. So what I did was I made copies from the master that I got from him, and I put some integrity with it. It was, once again, a white piece of paper, just like his, but I made a cover. I even made the cover myself, and it was a skinny leg instead of a construction boot, and I called it the 1995 bootleg. And by this time I'm rehearsing with Prince at Center Staging in Burbank, and my wife and I we've taken a whole factory and just took over his office. And we made a factory in his office because the big rooms have the small offices in them.
Yeah.
Well, we got a little tower that burnt 3 discs. We got that. I got my HP printer, and we got stacks of CDs and cases and paper. That's and we printing and making CDs while I'm rehearsing with Prince. Nisa is in the room like.
Wow.
Putting them together, right? So when we take a break with Prince, I go in there while everybody else go get a little snack or step outside to get some air. I go in the office with her, stacking up CDs, right? Prince comes. I mean, she lit me up too because I did something wrong, man. My wife, I thought she was gonna kill me. She was running things, man. No, you ain't gonna do it right. Get out of here. I was like, okay, all right, okay. So Prince comes in and he looks between us because he can't look over me. Right? He looks between us. Sorry, man. So he looks between us, right? And he says, "What are you guys doing?" And that's as loud as he spoke. "What are you guys doing?" And I said, "I'm running a family business, man. I got to sell these records, come hook a crook." And I told him my whole story and what happened, blah, 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 blah. So he looks at Straight from the Vault. And then he looks at the 1995 bootleg and he says, "Well, tell me what this cover means." Now, he got Straight from the Vault. It was a piano in front of a bank vault, the whole nine, yada, yada. But he looks at this bootleg and says, "What does this one mean?" And I said, "The construction boot represents the fact that the man is working hard, hard-working man. But the skinny leg represents the fact that he ain't eating from his work. He's starving. They taking it from him, He screamed, man. And that's when he endorsed me and said, "If you're going to do it all the way. Don't play with it. Do it all the way. And if you sign with a label again, give them a year. If they can't do what needs to be done in a year, get out. Make sure you have a Harriet Tubman escape, or it's called a contract. If you don't have a if you have a Harriet Tubman escape, then it's an agreement because you knew what you were getting into. But if you don't have a Harriet Tubman escape, then it's a contract. They got you. They count you." So those are the conversations we used to have all the time. Man, that brother gave me a lot of insight.
Yo, a couple of things, Frank, stay right there because you and I had a really long conversation months ago about your journey into independent stardom. Tell the people how that happened for you, because, you already mentioned that you had a couple of major record deals and then you went independent. That wasn't what you intended to do from the beginning, but I know that you are continuing to sling. And before you answer that, though, I really want to give a shout out to the people in the chat because they're really, really coming with it. And cool. Our friend Alexander's actually gave us our very first super chat.
Okay.
That's a new feature in YouTube, or it's new to us.
Well,
so we want to give a shout out to her. Yeah. So anyone else, please follow her lead.
Right. But while we waiting for everybody to get their super chats in, because you're the inaugural super chatters on the Take 6 Spread Love podcast. But Frank, even as you tell us how you got into and wove your way into being the independent artist that you are extraordinaire.
Thank you.
We were on tour and we could not stop listening to the Rude Boys all the way back to the very beginning. Written all over your face.
Man, y'all taking me back.
Tell us about that and how that came to be.
Actually, I was just a musical director. Well, I won't say just a musical director for him because, man, we ran a tight ship on that tour. Thanks to Eddie Levert. He was our mentor. I toured with the Rude Boys back in 1991. Now, me, the late Buddy Banks, Joe Little, we would always be a part of the talent shows that ran through Cleveland. There was a lady named Ernestine Ross. Man, she had to be about 113 years old back then. So, but she was no nonsense. Y'all talk to Yvette Nicole Brown about Miss Ross and the talent show. She gonna know exactly what we're talking about because she would be part of those talent shows too. And I was always hired. Me and my little band, we were hired to play the music for everybody who came in and sang or whatever actors needed. Some background music or whatever. And Joe and Buddy and those guys, they would come and be a part of the talent show, And that's
how far in advance notice did you get for these songs that you were playing for these various artists and performers?
Woo! Let's just say I'm just glad I'm a recording artist and not an MD. Man, when you dealing with Brotherhood Productions, and I'm saying that in love, I can't help but get it true. You dealing with Brotherhood Productions, you get it when you get it, and then if you haven't perfected the song by the time it's time to play, they want to scold. They always want to scold the leader, but you don't blame the waiter for what the cook did. I'm just the one bringing it to you. But if you can't get the music to be at enough time, then that's the cook's fault. That ain't my fault. You know what I mean? Don't blame. Everybody want to blame the keyboard player for everything, even when there's a buzz on stage in concert. Blame the keyboard player. Why the keyboard player got to catch it? Yeah, man.
With the changes.
Oh man, you know what? pack my stuff and leave, man. I'm gonna play the drums. Shoot. But yeah, that's how we connected through the talent shows. And then when they got to deal with Atlantic, thanks to Joe Levert, they reached out to me and asked me to be in a band. And I said, okay, cool. Yeah, I get in a band. That's fine, no problem. So we're talking every bit of 1989 at this point. And we rehearsed from all of 89, 90. We just shared it, just came up with ideas, And then the tour hit, where they got the tour with the OJs, Levert, and the Rude Boys. And man, that changed my life, man. I always knew I wanted to be a recording artist. From the time I was about 3-4 years old, I knew exactly what I wanted to do for a living. I knew way back then. And to get the opportunity to now tour and get on the road, I didn't have no wife, no kids. Just let me be the nomad I need to be, and let me learn this game. Let me learn what I need to do. I knew what I wanted to do. So it was really cool touring with those guys. I mean, in my first touring gig, I was MD, and they made me the MD because the late Cliff Colson, great bassist out of Cleveland, he was slated to be the MD first, but he got a call to go out with the Winans. So they threw me in the hot seat, and this was right before the tour started. So, dealing with pressure, I started dealing with pressure at a young age. So it was easy for me. I mean, it was fun. There's nothing like getting paid for something you enjoy doing.
Yeah,
There's nothing
for
like
sure.
It. Don't ever complain. Don't ever complain. Don't ever complain. It's a gift from God. Yeah, but
So for you,
dude, that is that album alone with that Rude Boys project, and then like Claude said, once we finally, because the first time I actually heard you on the radio, I was thinking to myself, this has to be Donnie. And so, I mean, how much of your sound was shaped by Donnie Hathaway?
I'm gonna tell you, it was scary. Well, scary for some. I never meant to sound like him. I never meant to come out sounding like Donnie Hathaway. I'm a male version of my mother, my grandmother, and all my aunts. If you look up the name Liz McComb, you'll see where I got it from. She's gospel singer. Yeah, look up Liz McComb. I grew up in the same type of holiness church that Donnie came up in because my grandmother was the pastor of the church, and it was a small holiness church out of Cleveland. They all had the same style of singing, the whole nine. And Donnie was just extraordinarily gifted, He was. But as far as the tone, if you would hear my grandmother, my mother, all of my aunts, I'm just a male version of them, and I'm the only one in my family, the only man in my family that's singing. So there's no other man to reference me to.
Right. But you get the question all the time, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, I get it all the time. I get it all the time, and I don't mind answering that. Not at all, because like George Benson told me, George is like an uncle to me. I've known him for 33 years. George told me when I was 17, 18 years old, he said, anytime somebody ever tell you sound like a legend, you better run with it, because they could say something else different. They really could. He said, anytime somebody tell you sound like a legend, you better run with it, boy. He had the same issue with Wes Montgomery. With Wes Montgomery, a lot of people, they threw the Wes Montgomery thing on him, and he ran with it. Can you blame him? Look at him now, And we're talking about somebody who's got just as many pop hits as he does jazz. He's probably got more pop hits than jazz hits. Benson had he had been signed at least, I think, 3 or 4 different record labels before going to Warner Brothers and putting out Breezin'. So George had a career before he became a star. He already had a career. Check out some of those old CTI recordings with Freddie Hubbard and Stanley Turrentine, and that's George on guitar.
Yes.
He had a career. He had a career before Breezin' hit. So. And I grew, and then I took what I learned from playing in church, in my grandmama's church. I took what I learned from that because they put me off the organ. They straight put me off the organ in my grandmama's church. But yet I'm endorsed by Billy Preston years later.
Why? Why?
Yeah. They said, Frankie, you play too jazzy, baby. You got to get down off the organ. You got to get off the organ. They put me off. A lot of people don't know I play Hammond B3 organ. I just don't really do it. But I played on the album. I played on some Buckshot and Funk stuff.
No, we see you do that live. You do the most amazing stuff live, and we've literally said, okay, the dude is not from this world.
Y'all call me an alien. I remember y'all call me.
That's right.
Yep.
But it's actually
we call spade a spade. You are not in this world.
What you were playing, you had built something, took the back off, rewired it into something else.
Oh, probably Fender Rhodes.
Yeah.
I do a lot of stuff. I just rebuilt my Fender Rhodes.
At one time. There are only certain people in the world that can do that. And
That's right.
they don't originate here. They start from someplace else. So,
Mark,
tell us where you came from.
It was either Mark or Dave, or both of y'all. One of y'all put out a video and said that I had an egg in the backyard hidden under some bushes or something. I came in on an egg.
You came out
That's right.
Y'all crazy, man. Hey, blame it on God, man. Blame it on God.
Oh God.
When did you first start thinking about doing that, kind of changing whatever tone generator that you had and turn it into something else and tinkering with it?
Actually, it was a Fender Rhodes piano. I was always fascinated with Fender Rhodes piano from the time I was a little boy, you know. And I mean, that was the sound throughout the 70s, part of the 80s. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you could get a Fender Rhodes for like $50, $100 from anybody selling. Nowadays, they're probably going for about $3,000.
All the first arrangements that I did were done on Fender Rhodes.
Fender Rhodes, man, I'm telling you, that's the way to go. And I mean, everybody had their own unique sound. I could listen to Joe Sample. I could listen to Ramsey Lewis. I could listen to Patrice Rushen. I could listen to Herbie Hancock. I could listen to Chick Corea. I can listen to all these guys and tell who's who just by the sound of their Rhodes. Mm-hmm. Really, because Larry Dunn, Earth, Wind & Fire, I can just tell. Because, I mean, the Rhodes is a real instrument. It's not like a synthesizer. So you really have to tune it. You got to overhaul it. All the keys have to harmonically sound, sonically, not harmonically, sonically sound the same. Yep. Or it's going to sound horrible. You know, one's going to have more treble in it. Another key's going to have more bass in it. You have to really go through the piano from top to bottom and make all the tones kind of match, you know, sonically. But I ended up getting my first Fender Rhodes, I think around 16 years old, something like that. I had just started playing at 12. And a buddy of mine, this guy my mom was dating at the time, found a Korg Poly 800. It's a little small joint. And I couldn't play no chords on it. Yeah, I just started playing piano at 12, and I couldn't play no chords on this thing because it was short. You know, it was really good for sim sounds and bass. But then I met somebody that had a Stage 73, and he was a bass player. He just happened to have a Fender Rhodes. So we traded. I gave him the Poly 800. I got the Fender Rhodes. And my brother and I, we were the kind of kids that we took everything apart when we were kids and put it back because there was really nothing else to do in Cleveland at the time. But, you know, we took everything apart and figured out how to put it back together. And that was one of the things we did. So I did it with a Rhodes piano because, you know, having grown up, listened to so many different ones, I wanted to know what made it tick. So I took mine apart and put it back together and figured out how to do it. Now, what's crazy about this, and be honest with you, I'm going to tell you, what's crazy about this is I didn't know I was going to be hired by Tina Marie to do hers. I didn't know I was going to be hired by Brian Morgan, who did all of the hits for SWV, to rebuild one for him. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I literally just did one for Fred Hammond back in February. I just rebuilt December. I rebuilt one of his. He had two of them. One didn't work, so I took the parts from one and built the piano, built the other piano. Just did that in December. Went back in February and got some more parts to put on my piano. Just rebuilt mine. I didn't know that Joseph Brandstetter was going to call me to be a not only just a spokesperson but a consultant for the Mark VII, the newer one that they put out. Yeah, I was a consultant for. The first thing I told them is make those tines stronger because we always broke them. You know, the hard strings in them. And I didn't know that, but I also didn't know, with Korg being my very, very first keyboard, way back then, I didn't know I was going to be an endorser for Korg since 2004 and get my name in every Kronos around the world. See, this I'm trying to minister to somebody out there that need to hear this. Mm-hmm. It ain't how you start, man. It's how you finish. You know, and if you ain't finished, look at where you at. You're closer to the goal than where you were when you started. I didn't know I was going to be an endorser for Korg. My name is in every Kronos in the world 3 times because the squeaky wheel got the oil. Me and Lyle Mays, the late Lyle Mays, we were developing electric piano and acoustic piano sounds with Korg at the time. They were sampling all kind of pianos, right? And I think they did 2 or 3 of mine. And man, it's a tedious job, but we did it. And we finally get to the point where we're finalizing the sounds, right? And while Lyle is working on his stuff, I'm talking to my friend Jerry Kovarsky. Of course, he's not with the company anymore, but I'm talking to Jerry and Jack off to the side, and I'm asking Jerry and Jack, look, man, why don't y'all name these badges after us, man? I mean, we do a lot of work on these keyboards, and I mean, I've done loads of demos for them too. So if you pull up demos in the Chrome, the Micro X, the M3, those soul jazz demos are me. I did all of those by myself. And I would sit with Jerry and Jack, and they would proof stuff, and we change things up. But I wrote those joints, and we would work on them together, and put them in the keyboards. But I asked them, why don't you name Herbie's patch after him, George Duke's patches after him, mine after me. I did 2 Wurlitzers and Fender Rhodes. I did more patches than all the other guys, but the squeaky wheel got to all. My name is in every Kronos in the world, and the new Nautilus we just put out on November 9th last year has 1 or 2 of my Rhodes pianos or something, and my voice is in. I did the demo for it, I did the soul jazz demo for that one, and my voice, I'm actually singing in that keyboard. So I'm very proud, man, considering where I started. I'm very, very proud.
That is awesome.
That is amazing, man.
Thank you.
And you're right. That is inspiration, not just for us, but I know for others that are watching. So
kudos, somebody out there watching. I mean,
so Frank,
hold on. You'll get there. Just hold on.
It took you a while to get set up today, and so we started without you, and now you're here. Everything is good. Can you play and sing something for us right quick?
Possibly, maybe see what I got jumping on.
Yeah, let's see what you got, brother.
I'm literally making a virtual solo performance video for a festival in Memphis. I think it is. Can y'all hear this?
We can hear it.
Each night before I lay down, I pray that tomorrow will be the day I get enough mental strength to speak. I got to make it a little sweeter. Hold on. That's another one of my toys, the Touch Mix by QSC. I endorse this too.
Work it.
I got to get my Take 6 on.
Oh yeah. Look at it.
Now we see what you're working with.
I got to get my Lufter and let her know all about me. Then I drift off to sleep, and I begin to dream, but never a nightmare, 'cause she's the only one there. So I gotta find a way to her heart, do the best I can to impress this girl, find my way to her heart, 'cause I really love her. Searching for the right words to say to her. Gotta get my act together, yeah. Searching for the words today, gotta find my way, yeah, to her heart. Gotta do the best I can to impress you, baby. Gotta find my way to her heart, 'cause I really love her, yeah.
Dude.
Good grief.
Told you, man.
See, right there. That's what I'm talking about.
Literally.
Is there a vessel that takes us to the planet that you just?
He's turning green, man.
Literally hats off.
Y'all
Turning green like a Martian.
Man, y'all crazy, man. Y'all,
So the chat is blowing up, son.
I gotta get my Bubba Smith on. Yama. I gotta get my chant. See, y'all don't know nothing about that. Police Academy. Y'all don't know nothing about that.
In my dreams, I can do what you do. In my dreams. That's it.
That leads me to another question. That really just leads me to another question. Because after you went and literally started tinkering, got your verbs set up, your delays all set in, got your box working right.
Yeah.
You just came back in. Now, do you have perfect pitch, or was that just remembering where you started playing?
No, actually, I don't have perfect pitch, and a lot of guys that I talk to that have it say it's like a curse because they can hear something slightly out, and it's like the dog hearing the whistle that we don't hear.
Oh, wow.
So, like nails down the chalkboard, they say. But no, I don't have perfect pitch. I just have I guess you would call it relative pitch. You give me the first note, I know where to go from there, you know. But
Okay.
I don't know. I just, like I said, you know, blame it on God. It's an anointing that He loaned to me until I check out of here, and somebody else gonna get it, and hopefully they'll do right by it.
Praise
You know,
God.
I can't take the credit for it with 3 piano lessons. Literally, I literally had 3 piano lessons. My aunt Evelina.
3 piano lessons.
Yeah, kid you not. My
I
aunt
saw
Evelina-
that. I saw that. That you started playing from your aunt, right?
Yep, my aunt Evelina. I was in that little holiness church, man, and I was watching her right after service, you know, because she and Liz would play piano and organ for the church. But right after service, Evelina is writing this blues tune. You know, she had been working on this blues tune every Sunday. You know, after service, she would sit there while everybody else meeting and greeting and getting ready to go eat the mother whoever's food down in the basement where they didn't set up and
Right.
everything.
Yeah.
She's upstairs writing this tune, right? And I walked over to her and I said, Lena, I want you to teach me to play. Because I would sit next to her every Sunday and just watch her work on this tune. And I opened my mouth one day and said, you make it look easy. I want to know how to play the piano. And she was like, okay, Red, I'm going to teach you. Red was my nickname, Red. And my grandmother called me Red Boy, you know, because I would turn red when laughing or crying. I would turn bright red, man. So they called me Red or Red Boy. So I get home from church and she comes over to my mama's house with this keyboard, this little Casio Tinker Toy keyboard that she thought was like, you know, the newest thing ever, right? Had the little one speaker on it with all the little drums on it, right? And she sat me down and said, it's a C, D, E, F. And I was like, Lena, I wasn't trying to learn today. I want to go outside and play freeze tag with my friends. You know, she's like, you don't talk down to Auntie Lena about no, you sit down here, sit down. I had to sit down and learn. And she taught me my basic major minor chords, told me what the purpose of the sustain pedal was for, and taught me the notes on the keys. So for 3 Sundays in a row, she worked with me for 1 hour for 3 Sundays in a row. And she had to quit teaching me. And I'm just going to put it out there. I'm going to just tell it like it is. I covered the story up, but you know, somebody need to hear this. I was told that she stopped teaching me because she had to take on a new job and the hours, you know, just the hours conflicted. She couldn't teach me. But the truth is that word got to her that I was too stupid to learn. I won't say who it was, but somebody really close to the family told her that, you know, I don't know why you teaching him. He's too stupid to learn. He ain't gonna learn no piano. I don't even know why you wasting your time. And it was a family member or someone really, really close to the family said that to her. And every time she would come over, she felt uncomfortable because this was spoken over me by somebody that was really close to my mom. And she was like, I can't do this. I can't do it anymore. But I would still go over to her house and just pick up little nuggets or whatnot. But like actual lessons, yeah. So and for anybody that's out there, if somebody spoke something over your life, unspeak it, man. Unspeak it because it ain't true. Unspeak it. Erase it. Erase it from your memory banks. Erase it from your data, man. Erase it because I've had so much stuff spoken over me, and it carried over. And I mean, we're talking since childhood, and then it carried over to my life. The issues of politics. That demon has been following me for years, and I keep rebuking him, man. That demon of politics. My political issues started when I was going to the Cleveland School of the Arts back in the 80s. And there was a guy, I won't say his name because he and I were really cool, but it was the politics at the school that affected everything between us when it came down to the school. You know, here's what happened. If y'all don't mind me telling, there was
Please.
there was the director of the school. I won't say his name either, because I'm not one to exploit. I'm not an exploiter. I tell a story so to minister to somebody else that may need it. Exploitation is not cool. So it's my ministry, and I'm sharing my testimony. Rather, I'm sharing that with people, not exploiting who did it. You know. So what happened was the director of the school at the time. I don't know why, but he had it in for a brother. He had it in for a brother, and the type of school, the School of the Arts, the School of the Arts was for gifted, you know, singers, gifted musicians, dancers, photographers, the whole nine, you know, and you had to audition to get into this school. And we still had our curriculum, you know, we still had math, science, social studies, all that stuff. But the thing with this school is it taught us to be responsible in regards to gigging. If you were, I was a vocal major, so I was in the School of the Arts Gospel Choir, and I still had to audition to be in the School of the Arts ensemble. So what they do is they got these calls from corporations for us to go out and perform. So Cleveland School of the Arts Jazz Trio would get calls from corporations and companies, to go out and perform. So these corporations allowed us opportunities to perform for them so that we can, build our careers basically, or get the knowledge or the wisdom, on how to perform and be responsible, show up to the place, on your own. Your choir robe had to be cleaned on your own. School of the Arts Trio, they had to set up and break down in time. They taught us that. They taught us how to perform, how to be performance. That was the thing. And piano was my minor. So School of the Arts Jazz Trio got called for 2 gigs at one time. So I asked the director, I said, well, can I take a group of musicians? Because I had been wanting to play, and he wouldn't let me play. I had been asking over and over and over, and he would never let me go out and play. So finally, 2 gigs at once. And the guys couldn't be in 2 places at one time because the gigs were at the same time. So I asked him, can I take a group of musicians and go play the other one? I'll let you know. That's what I got. For almost a week and a half, I'm asking him. And, finally he says to me, well, the other gig canceled. That was to shut me up and stop me from asking. So I was bummed, man. That was it for me. Politics. So I ended up getting a call. Let me take this back. I ended up meeting a brother that was working on my mother's roof, right? The roof of the building that we were living in. And he heard me practicing on my Fender Rhodes in my bedroom. I was learning this record. Patrice Rushen had a record out in '77 called Shout It Out. And on that record, the first song is called The Hump. And she plays this killer keyboard solo at the end to close out the song. And I sat there and I was memorizing her solo. Then I pulled up, I'd never forget, and then I pulled up Herbie Hancock's Headhunters. I put that record on. And the second half of the song is a Fender Rhodes solo. I sat there and learned that whole solo. That's what I was working on. And he heard me. Dallas Hutchins is his name. Dallas came down and knocked on my bedroom door because he had access to get into the house. And he said, man, is that you down here playing? I said, yeah, that's me. I'm studying. He said, man, why don't you come out to the bars and play with us? I'll look out for you. So my bedroom was in the back of the apartment. My mother's bedroom was in the front. So I'm sneaking out at night with my Fender Rhodes, carrying that stage model Rhodes down this long walkway down the side of my building, putting it in his trunk and going to play. Wow. So as time goes by, the guys at the School of the Arts, the Jazz Trio, they were really good friends of mine. And they noticed I stopped asking the director for gigs. I stopped asking him if I can go out. And they were like, how come you don't talk to Dr. Yada, yada, yada? I won't say his name either. If I run into him again, I'm going to buy him the biggest steak because he did me the biggest favor. I told them, I said, man, he won't. I just gave up asking, man. So what you guys are getting a grade for, I'm getting paid for. I'm cool. I ain't never got to play another. I ain't got to ever ask him again because now I get the experience as hands-on. And the things that I'm learning out here is called wisdom because you can't get it in a book. You get knowledge from a book, but you get wisdom from life, from living it. So I said, y'all going to get the grade, man. I'm going to buy me a pair of jeans or something. I'm going to buy me another keyboard while y'all just getting the grade. So
did your aunt,
I never look back.
Did your aunt live long enough to see that you were doing it?
Yeah.
Did she ever say anything to you? Did she ever?
Yeah, for the times that I did talk to her after I left. See, what happened was when I left Cleveland November 9th. I left Cleveland in September of '91, right after the Rude Boys tour. Because on that tour, that's when I met Jazzy Jeff, and I met some friends, Mark Byers and Sherman Byers, and they all talked me into moving to Philly, so they helped me get on my feet. When I left Philly and moved, I could still drive back and forth from Philly to Cleveland, and still play gigs and hang out with the family and whatnot. But when I moved to L.A., November 9th, 1992, I'm just going to be honest with you, there was distance between me and my family. As long as I was calling home, then, people would talk to me, but I didn't get calls. I didn't hear from I left the nest, but didn't hear from nobody. So I kind of lost contact with my own family. And we reconnected, though, and I would try to see my aunt when I went back to Cleveland. But for a long time, I didn't go to Cleveland because I was trying to make my way in L.A. And I did go back and see my aunt a couple times. And she was very proud of me, and I hung out with her right before she passed. I think November would make 3 years she's been gone. She died around Thanksgiving. And I sat with her in the nursing home she was in, and I showed her a few magazines I was in, and we were just talking, and she was just reminiscing, man. And not long after that, I lost her. So I'm so glad I was able to spend that time with Lena. Yeah, but the political thing, man, was horrible because it followed me from the School of the Arts to Motown. It followed me from Motown to Columbia. It followed me from Columbia to the indie label. I mean, just things happened at Motown that I had no control over. It had nothing to do with the music at all. I gave them 2 different projects. They didn't do anything with them, and then the company was bought, so I left. I went to Columbia, did a great album there, and there were internal issues between the R&B department and the jazz department. I did a 2-hour showcase for the R&B department at Columbia, and everybody said, "Oh, we're gonna sign this guy. He's awesome. He's awesome. Oh, he's great." Only to pass on me and to sign someone else. I believe it was Alicia Keys. And obviously they didn't do nothing with her if it was Alicia, because she went somewhere else too. But yeah, it was all politics. And I'm not saying that labels are bad. The label is innocent. It's who runs them, you know. And until I find the right label to get married to, I'd rather stay single. You know, it feels good to own my masters. It feels good to own my own catalog. When COVID hit, and I was hearing that a lot of people were trying to deal with labels to get their masters. Man, I'm doing interviews. They asked me, how are you holding up in COVID? I said, well, I'm doing good. I'm putting out compilations. I'm putting out remastered stuff. I mean, I own my stuff. I've been living like it was COVID since 2004. So the only thing that affected me was getting on the road, because everybody knows I am a road dog, man. I'm in Europe. What did Nisa tell me? My wife told me I'm on the road like 9. She added it up. It was like 9 months out of 12, and I'm doing my own concert bookings, literally, because I can't get a booking agent for whatever reason. I think it's the politics again. You know, because I don't have Grammys, I'm not nominated. I'm gonna be like y'all with 10. You guys are awesome. Well, y'all got more than 10 now, huh? Yeah,
Mark does.
Mark goes to 11.
How Mark get 11 and y'all got 10?
Mark's not,
because he's an alien.
No, he ain't no alien, because aliens ain't getting Grammys, man.
He's from a neighboring planet.
Oh, he's from a neighbor. Well, I need to come from your planet, man.
No, bro.
Man, you're definitely dropping nuggets of wisdom, and you are definitely taking your life experience and actually turning it into nuggets, like I said, of wisdom that others can learn from. And actually, instead of making some of the same mistakes or falling prey to some of the temptations, like you said, somebody speaking negativity over your life, and putting up a buffer against that so that it's not something that will affect your future. That's very amazing, man. We want to give a quick shout out to Amanda Green and Kivu Knox for their super chats, and for Monique Dooley, super duper chat. Thank you very much. This helps us keep bringing this type of content to you. And when I say Frank, man, bro.
I want to endorse my man Keeve as well. That's my dude, man. That is my dude home right there. Yeah, man.
That's the home. Love natural. That's all I'm gonna say. Right there.
Son.
I love will last beyond the end of time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. I wrote that to my wife, man. I wrote that to her before Love Stories even came out, man. I demoed every song on Love Stories back in 97, 98.
I love that project.
Yeah, I demoed every single song. So recording Love Stories, recording, mixing, mastering, vocals, tracking. Literally, Love Stories, when you add up all the time, add up the days, was 26 days doing Love Story, to do Love Story. The homework was done, man. I had already demoed every single song before the name Love Stories was ever thought of. I'd cut them when I did, when I recorded Straight from the Vault. The songs on Straight from the Vault are that old. I mean, the record came out in 2004, but I had recorded a lot of that stuff. You know, it was just sitting in my studio. So I'd recorded all of that stuff the same time I had written and recorded all of the stuff that you heard on Love Stories. I recorded it all around the same time, around 97, 96, 97. And so it was already demo. So I sent the stuff to Branford. And Branford was touring with a trio at the time. Just sax, bass, and drums. And when they had time off, he would say, "Yo, flying you to New York, man. We're gonna cut for about 4 days." I said, "Okay, cool." So I fly to New York. We cut 4 days. Go back home. Oh, I'm going to be off about a week. I'm going to fly you in New York. Fly in New York for a week. And then once we put it all together, I mean, the homework was so done, man. And 26 days, man, when you add it up, that record was finished. Great album.
Wow.
Tell us about the new one you're working on. Because you just mentioned that you're doing a virtual record, right?
No, actually, it's a virtual performance. I'm doing a virtual performance right now. Yeah. So, in fact, it's funny you say that. Just truth be told, I know I can be real on your platform, and I can be real with you guys because you guys are my friends. Truth be told, I'm really not inspired right now to make a record. I'm not inspired at all to make a record, man. But all the stuff, I can't even watch TV. I can't watch the news. Just I ain't inspired. So my son, if it wasn't for him, yeah, I think I would have taken a nice little break. But my son is like pushing me out there. It's like he's got his foot on my tail, just pushing. You know, he's like, get out there, Dad, because he's in the production now. Look up the name Skinny Kid Frank. Check him out on SoundCloud, Skinny Kid Frank. He's finally working on an EP, man. He's like he's more of a he's a producer, engineer, but he has great tracks, man. My son is scary, and I'm not saying it because it's my son. I'm saying it because it's the truth, man. I'm hardcore.
And you know, if you say it's scary,
it's scary.
You know, the definition of scary on your planet is a little extraordinary compared to the rest of the world. So if you say scary, you guys better go check out that SoundCloud immediately.
He's no joke, man. That boy is finally working on an EP. Been telling him for at least 2 years you need to get an EP, but he just wanted to perfect his skills, his production skills, the whole nine. So there's a single out that I have called No Matter What, and I let him produce it. No Matter What came out, I'm guessing 2 years now. Like when he was first starting out, the groove he gave me was so cold. I said, dude, I want those drums. So he sent me the drums and I wrote everything else on top of it. It's a song called No Matter What. Check it out. It's on Spotify, my Bandcamp, which is bandcamp.com/Frank McComb. That's my band. That's where you get all my music. Get it there.
Bro. Okay, so that's the best way for people to find you? Because that was going to be my next question.
Yeah, they get all of my music on Bandcamp. Yeah. It's actually frankmccomb.bandcamp.com, I believe it is. Yeah, that's what it is. frankmccomb.bandcamp.com. You can get it there. My YouTube channel, FMTV, the official YouTube channel for Frank McComb. I've got content that I put there. My socials, you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Instagram is Frank McComb, MCCOMB. Those are only three I have time to keep up with: Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And those only three. When you're doing everything yourself, man, you gotta have balance, dude. Yeah, you gotta have balance.
Well, I also want to personally thank you for being as transparent as you just were about the fact that you're not feeling inspired, because that's a tough thing to do in a public forum, because people think that it's easy for us and that, it just comes out all the time and stuff. And that's not the way it always happens.
No, you're absolutely right. It's not, because we are creatives, man. We create music, or should I say, God's created it all. We just develop it, But if you don't feel inspired to develop it, it's not going to get done. And no, you're right. It's not easy. It's really not. I feel for some recording artists, because some guys are signed to labels where you put out a record and a year later they're like, okay, time for another one. But I just put it out. It's a year. Well, it's old now. You got to put it. That's old. We need a new one. So you're like a machine, man. You got to keep pumping them out. You're a product. It's like you're a can of Pepsi.
You're the choir, bro.
We know. You're like a can of Pepsi.
We've been putting the can and poured out for quite some time.
Yeah,
we've been there.
Yeah. So and it's just to inspire everybody out there that's going through it, man. It happens. Be ready to put it out, because the last thing you want to do is rush something, throw it out, and it sounds rushed. It sounds like it's not you. And guess what? You as the front man gonna catch the heat from the fans
forever.
Right, forever.
Yeah.
That's how it works, man. The waiter always catches it from the people, from the patrons. The waiter always catches it, but the cook, he just cooking it. And there's always the out front dude that's gonna catch the heat. So be careful in what you put out. Don't just throw anything out. Just get your head together, get it back in the game, put out some quality stuff so people can respect you.
Man,
I love it.
Yeah.
With that, brother, man, it's been a pleasure having you with us, man. We could have you back every week. You're a friend of ours.
Well, it's been an honor. It's been an honor for me, man. Yeah, it's been an honor for me.
Hey, and I'm gonna put this out there. When you do get inspired, give us a call, bro.
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
dude. Well, in that
Get
case,
inspired, give us
I'll
a
be
call.
calling you as soon as I hang up. I got numbers on all of you.
Look
Come
at
on, come
God.
on.
So
We gonna do a Zoom after this Zoom.
there we go.
Now that's
There
some
we go.
inspiration.
There you
Hey,
go,
Oh,
bro.
hey, everybody,
why don't you,
you've
why don't you
been
play us out
listening.
and take us out with one more song, bro?
Yeah,
Take you
yeah.
out. Let me see.
And while
us
you're
out.
doing that, I'm going to say to everybody, thank you for showing up on the Take Six Spread Love podcast. And we with us here on YouTube, like and subscribe. Thank you so much. Thank you for those that super chat going on.
Absolutely, loving it.
Y'all got to school
Love
me
you
on that
guys.
super chat.
Love you, Frank.
Oh, likewise, man. Our love will last beyond the end of time. To have to grow a love as strong as yours and mine. Love has to start out as friends for it to grow. Yeah. And friendship's the main ingredient for love natural. La, 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 la.
Wow.
God,
Right. Thank you, Frank.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Love you
Frank.
everybody.
guys, man. Love you
Frank
guys.
McComb
Right.
in the house.
Frank
Y'all
Marshall,
make
bless.
some time.
See ya.
the Martian
Love you,
McComb.
brothers.
Love you,
I
man.
love you, brothers, man.
Peace, peace.
Amazing.